Okay, it's time for my August roundups featuring me and Taylor Lautner today. I read 19 books in August. I wanted to make it 20 so bad, but I am so proud of 19 books. Okay, they're gonna be a little out of order today, but we'll kind of start with the DNFs. DNF number 1 was That Prince Is Mine. It's just nothing new. It's like she's a chef, he's a prince. I've read this book 50,000 times. I don't care. I also DNF'd The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. This one sucked because I've been dying to read this author. I have not read The Night Circus yet. Everyone told me The Night Circus is great and I should still read it. And they all agreed that this one was really boring. I made it 200 pages into this book. I was so convinced it was gonna start to make sense. It didn't make sense. It was not good. I also DNF'd Consider Me by Becca Mack. This is book 1 in this series. This is my best friend's favorite book series. She's told me repeatedly that book 1 is not good and the rest of the series is absolutely incredible. Book 2 in this series is gonna have to be life altering to keep me reading this series because this one was so boring. Their relationship made no sense except for the fact that she's just so tiny. Talk about how small and tiny and petite she is every single chapter of this book. The basic premise, which is like Playboy hockey player, is also done in the Mile High series, the first book. Mile High is so much better than this. I also read these 3 books. The Kiss Quotient, I gave 4 stars to. I actually really liked book 1 a lot. Then book 2, which is The Bride Test, I DNF'd. At first, I thought it was because the audio narrator sucked, and then I tried to do it physically, and I just did not like the plot at all. Our female main character also is a terrible mother. I'm sorry, but she's a terrible mother. And then book 3, The Heart Principle, I ended up giving 2.75 stars to. This book had a lot of potential and just kind of meh. Every single time they are together, it's just her crashing out and losing her mind and him trying to make her feel better. That's the whole relationship. I'm glad I gave the series a try, but at 0 stars, yes, I did finish it. It wasn't a DNF, but I'm giving it 0 stars, is What Fury Brings. I have a full-length, partly spoiler review on my YouTube if you want to check that out, where I get into very specific things. I can't believe this is being published. Everything about this book doesn't work. Take this one off your TBR. At 2 stars, I did read A Tempest of Tea finally. I really thought I was going to like this book a lot. It was just boring. You get plopped into the middle of the story with very little world building or backstory at all for that matter. And then I barely know these characters, so then when big things happen to them, I'm supposed to be shocked, but I just was so apathetic to everyone. So obviously I'm not reading book 2. I'm done. At 3 stars, I did read Cash by Jessica Peterson. This is a re-release of a previously indie published series. I had just come off of reading quite a lot of cowboy romances, and ultimately, I don't think the book was bad at all. I think it's a pretty easy read you could maybe throw on your Kindle, which is how I read it. It's not as good as Elsie Silver. It's not as good as this Devney Perry books I'm going to talk about in a second. And it's just not better than the Lila Sage series. Maybe like the Lila Sage series, this gets better as it goes, but I have so much cowboy romance to read and catch up on that I just don't really feel the need to continue this series. I could possibly pick it back up in the future. I also gave 3 stars to For the Wolf. I started this thing where I started reading all the books that I show in my very, very early book haul videos. And this was the first book I showed that I hadn't read yet. Okay, I started book 2. I'm giving book 2 100 pages to win me back over. The writing is perfectly fine in this, but the magic system is very confusing and I feel like never fully explained. And because their relationship is very minimal in it, it is mostly about the magic, of which there's no clear defined rules of. The amount of time I just zoned out while reading this was pretty incredible. I probably should have DNF'd it, but everyone was telling me that book 2 was so much better, so I decided to finish it and try book 2 first. Also 3 stars, I read The Bromance Book Club by Lissa K. Adams. I did this on audio and I did like the audiobook narrator very much. This book was perfectly fine. It was a good time. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't terrible. I am reading book 2 right now, and I do think book 2 is way better than book 1, personally. The overall story is just more interesting to me. Yeah, I'm gonna do the whole series on audio. I liked it enough. I think it's worth picking up so far. It was a cute idea for a book. At 3.5 stars, I also have a longer review for this on my YouTube as well, if you care. Thorn Season, which comes out just a couple days after I post this video. My biggest complaints about this book is it feels like a debut novel. And it's a story we have definitely seen before. She does things a little differently than similar books, and I appreciated that. I am gonna read book 2 and give it a try. Overall, I think it's worth reading. I don't think it needs to be at the top of your TBR, but it's worth picking up eventually. 3.5 stars to Past, Present, and Future by Rachel Lynn Solomon. I did both book 1 and 2 of this on audio. It was completely fine. Book 1 was better. I think these books, the first one and this one, sort of appeal more to people who are graduating high school and starting college and all sort of the worries and all that involved with it. As a 42-year-old person, I was like, yeah, I've been there, but it wasn't that super interesting. I'm not mad I read it. I also gave Tempting Oz 3.5 stars. This is book 4 in the Clickanian series, and I do really love this series. I'm basically rating the books between each other. I gave the first book 4 stars, which I really liked a lot. This one's probably my third favorite out of the 4. These are great reads. They were on Kindle Unlimited in the US, and they're really fun alien romances. I gave Catabasis 4 stars, and also a longer review on the YouTube if you want to check it out. I didn't hate it. It is my least favorite R.F. Kuang book. I do agree that it's a little bit confusing for the sake of being confusing. I just think it needed to be a little bit more fine-tuned because I was hoping this was going to be the same feeling I had with Babel, and it is nowhere near like Babel in my opinion. Ultimately, I'm glad I read it, but I wouldn't necessarily say, oh, everyone's got to run out and read it. Also 4 stars, I read Crossroads and Sunlight by Devney Perry. I gave both of these books 4 stars. I was really surprised by these, actually. These books had a lot of heart to them, and I got a little teared up on book 1 for sure. Book 2, I didn't actually like quite as much than book 1, but I still think both books are really solid. They are both on Kindle Unlimited in the US, and I flew through both of them. I really want to read more Devney Perry. She has written a ton of books, and obviously the Shield and Sparrows book, or I think is what it's called. Her stuff has kind of definitely been bumped up the TBR further because I think her writing style is really good. And at 5 stars, I read Warrior Princess Assassin by Brigid Kemmerer. We all know I'm a huge Brigid Kemmerer fan. This is her first adult novel. It is a polyamorous relationship as well. I really like this. This book is quite short. I do think it needed to be longer. We needed a little bit more character development in this book, I feel like. I hope we get more of it in the second book. I really enjoyed this book. I don't think it's a perfect novel, but I did really enjoy it, and I'm really excited to see where the story goes. And finally, my number 1 book of the month was Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. This book was perfect. This is set within the same world as Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows. This is considered book 0, but I highly recommend you read this book after you read Divine Rivals. Divine Rivals, Wild Reverence, Ruthless Vows. This gives you a lot of backstory on the gods and a lot of world building with them that I felt like we were really lacking with Ruthless Vows the first time I read it. I love Divine Rivals. I struggled with Ruthless Vows. And I feel like I would have struggled a lot less had I had this information at my disposal. This book was beautiful. Beautiful love story. If this is on your TBR, it needs to be number 1 on your TBR. And if it's not on your TBR at all, put it on your TBR. It's fantastic. So there we go. 19 books. I'm sweating because that took so long to do. Have a good September, everyone. Bye.